Hi guys, it's me. I'm just setting up right now really quickly, and just as soon as we have more people join in after my little chitter chatter, we can begin. Just trying to make sure I have my screen on point and and then also an area for where I can check for comments, just in case you guys have any, so I can interact with you guys. So how's everyone doing today? Feel free to type in so I can interact with you guys. I'm just making sure I can see comments as well, so I don't have to stand up and check out what people are saying every time I am in the middle of painting. Yeah, so this is like the third Sunday. We're all still in quarantine / social isolation. How's everyone doing? I hope people are keeping it positive and kind of just hanging in there. And yeah, I'm hoping these floral painting sessions are kind of relaxing and therapeutic for you guys as well. Okay, I think we should start. I am going to just give you a heads up on what we're doing today. So today we're going to be doing florals almost like in an arc. And hey Donna, yeah, I'm sure, right? Like, so this is my hope. So if the flowers seem repetitive to you guys, it's not because I have nothing else to show you. It's just because I find it calming, and I'm hoping the more I do it, the more you guys kind of flow with it as well. So as I was saying, for today I have my Canson sheet of watercolor paper. We're gonna do a we're going to do the florals in the form of an arc right here. I just roughly kind of drew a semicircle, and we're kind of going to aim for like a half a wreath. And so this way we're almost kind of doing it in the form of a shape, well, painting the flowers in the form of a shape. And for colors, we're going to try something new today and challenging. I'm going to do all of this by using just 3 colors. We're going to use a yellow, a warm yellow, my warm red, and a warm blue. So I believe it's like indigo, red, yellow. So we're using the main primary colors, and we're going to get our greens and everything else out of these. So keeping with that, keeping those aside. And for my brushes, we're going to be using what I've been using for the past 2 Sundays, which is my Squirrel Mop brush in the 1, the Princeton Neptune in the 8, and the Silver Black Velvet in the 4. So yeah, let's begin. I just want to make sure everyone has their water ready, paper ready, and obviously paper towel, because you're going to need it. So to begin, I did the arc, and if you guys want to either draw something or just start off right away, that's totally fine. The first flower I'm going to do is, so like you guys all already know, I like to do my big florals first, and then kind of flesh out the leaves and the smaller florals from there. So we're going to start with the number 8. And I'm keeping the number 1 on standby because we're going to start with the center and then flesh out the petals from there. And the first flower we're going to do is like a peony, and it's going to be a sideways peony, so it's going to face the inside. And what I'm going to do for this is take my number 8, and I'm going to get the red that we have going, and I'm just going to mix some onto my palette that I have on the side. It's right here, just so you can have an idea of what that looks like. Kind of bring it in view right there. So I'm just mixing it on the side here, taking it out of the screen again so you don't have to wonder, or sorry, not wonder, but see that instead of my painting area. So I'm mixing some color, I'm getting some on my number 8, and then I'm just going to start off with almost like a rectangle, a very loose rectangle area, and I'm painting it in the red, and I'm keeping the tops fairly open and loose. And then what I'm going to do is take my number 1 and making sure there's no color on it, just water, and not too much water, so I'm dipping it, just dabbing it onto my paper towel. I'm just going to go and lightly do strokes at the top, touching the pink in the center, and then I'm going to do my strokes this way. And then, keeping with the pink that I already have on here and the water, I'm just going to create more strokes. And then finally, what I want to do is just take the number 8 again and just create some light strokes at the bottom here. And this is what you're going to see is going to happen. When I take the number 1 and then extend it this way, I'm creating the petals at the bottom that keep it open. So you can see the flower is facing up there, and then the petals are coming down. And so once this dries a bit more, I'm just going to do some arc strokes or comma strokes around it so it looks nice and full. And then I'm going to go back in with the red and just add some at the center so it's darker, add some at the edges of these petal area things that I've done. And this way it gives it more definition. And it doesn't look too much of a one big blended blob per se. So we're just going to do that and then leave just this. I'm just going to go slightly at the edges as well, just to make sure it doesn't look too bare. Okay, so this is the first floral. And now for the second one, I'm going to do one facing this way, in this direction. And so for this one, I'm going to use the blue, and I will combine it with the red so we can get a nice purple. So so this is going to be a new technique that I'm showing. Well, not exactly a new technique, but a new flower using a technique that I've used many times. I'm going to lay the water down first and then go in with another brush and then put the color in so it flows. So let's start. I will start off with and this floor is, okay, so before I start, this flower is going to look more like a dahlia. So the strokes should be like a dahlia. And as I do them with the water first, you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to use my number 8 because it's nice and fine enough. If I use the number 1, it's a little bit too thick. And as I drag the brush down on the paper, it might get too, like I don't want it to be as thick. So I'm going to use the number 8 and just making sure there's no color on there, just water on it. I'm going to lightly, now I have enough light on here so I can see the water. I'm hoping you guys have that too. So I'm just going to start off over here, a safe distance away, and just start off with kind of dragging from the center out and leaving a lot of white space in between, and then kind of curving around the edges. Okay, and now that I have that and I can see it through the light, I mean with the light falling on here, I'm going to go ahead, use my number 1 Squirrel Mop brush. I have some red on my palette already. I'm going to get some of the blue and I'm mixing it with the red to get like a nice purple. And once I have the purple I want, I'm just gonna go in and do this and just watch the color kind of go out in the areas where it is damp. And now once I have enough color on there, I'm going to go back, get more color, and I'm going to use the number 8, not the Squirrel Mop brush. I'm going to go in with that, and you're just basically dragging and you're giving it some direction. And you want to make sure there's enough space in between, white space in between, and give it like some nice flowy organic shape. And you get the color from the center and drag out. And you can always bring the color back in if you don't want the tips to be too dark. It's totally up to you. Like what I'm going to do for the centers, because a dahlia is very, like, it's a full flower, I'm going to bring the petals in. So I've taken the color from the center and brought some petals out. Now I'm going to bring some on the inward rather. And I'm going to make sure that I don't have too much color on my brush, and I'm using the damp color from the petals that we've already laid down. Same here. I'm going to make sure it's looking nice and full. From all different directions. And you see that nice flow that you get. Make sure that, like I've been saying repeatedly, make sure there's a lot of space, white space in between. Now that I have this, I like how this shape is looking. So I'm gonna go in and get some of the blue and kind of mix in a nice violet or something close to it, and just go in the center and try and get a darker shade or a different kind of shade of the purple, just so we can get some more 2D or 3D kind of effects in here, and so the petals don't look like they are all like on the same level. So when you add this, it gives it like a nicer feel, a more artsy feel rather. And so I'm just going to go certain places and bring it in. And I don't want to overdo it, so I'm just going to leave it like this for now. And from here, we're going to do a third flower. And this one we can, let's make it go in this direction down here, facing this way. So I'm just going to rotate my sheet slightly. And since we have a nice yellow going for us, we could do a yellow floral. Or actually, you know what? Instead of going down this way, we could just do it here. And then this way it looks like a nice bunch. So let's just do that. So for the center of this one, I am going to do I'll make the center of this one a purple. And make it like a dark purple. Or I could even just perhaps make it a blue, but no. Let's just make it like a dark purple. And I'm going to lay it down like this by just doing quick lines and I'm leaving the center white. And now I'm going to take the number 1 and get some paint on here. I'm getting some of the yellow. I like mixing my paints right off the little things. And now I'm just going to drag from the center all the way out like this. And I want to do loose strokes and leave it loose, like open-ended kind of. And let's do about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one came out really dark, but that's okay. And then here's the 4th. And then for this one, it's going to be slightly tricky because we have that flower there, but we're just going to trail it off that way and leave it to end in that manner. And I just want to make sure that the edges are kind of like with a lot of white space happening, just loose strokes all around. And then I'm going to go back in with the purple that I created and just kind of add some more in the center, just to give it a nicer blend. So this is more of a simpler flower compared to the other two more intricate in detail ones. And then once I have that, I'm good to go. So I'm using the number 4. I don't have any color on this. It's just water. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in and add some detail on these petals. And here's what I'm doing. I'm just creating lines. And once it dries, it's going to give it a nice texture pattern to it. I'm going to go around. I'm doing the same thing here. And it's fine if some of the purple gets dragged on. And then I'm going to do some over here as well. I'm going to do it from the center out. So I'm just sitting at a weird angle here. There we go. Good. So we've done our 3 main florals. Now I'm going to go ahead and do some other trailing florals that kind of trail the arc on this side and a little bit on the top as well. And then we can finish off with some of the greenery. And so for this one, I'm going to use the blue that we have. So I'm just going to take some of my blue, and for application, I'm going to use the number 1 Squirrel Mop brush because I want it to be nice and flowy and give it some nice direction. So I'm just going to get some blue, just going to get some on the mixing area that I have here so you can see what that looks like. And I've mixed just a tad bit of red in it just so you can get a nice cool blue. So I'm just going to lay on the color. So it's going to be in the shape of like pods or like petals. So I'm just going to do this. And this is a little too light. So I'm going to mix the color straight from the little palettes here. I'm going to get some, I want to make sure it's more blue than the purple. And I'm just creating little buds like this. And we want to make these florals look like delphiniums. So once I have these, I'm going to take the same brush, dip it in my water, just the tip, and add more. And what happens here is you're just getting, actually I'm going to take off more color from it, wash off the color with just water on it at this point. I'm just creating the same shape, and this pretty much drags out the color that we have on the inside, like giving it a monochromatic look and feel. All right, and so now once this is done, I'm going to take my number 8 and mixing some of the yellow with the blue, we get our green. And so I'm mixing some on the side. Depending on how much green and blue you use, you might get different variations of the green. So you can feel free to figure out which colors you like. And I'm going to go at the very top, which is still damp, and just create some more of those shapes that I've been doing. And then bringing it down into the damp area, I'm just going to give it some direction so it looks like the leaves are, sorry, the stems are attached to these little florals. And then that's a nice trail off, as you can see. Now I think this just has water. I want this to be a little more faded, so I'm going to use just water on this and just create more, just wet the area around here, so then it gives it like a nice softer finish. There we go. And I'm just going to continue to add some green at the bottom. And then just trail that off as well, because I want it to be nice and soft. All right. If you want, you can go in and get some more of the purple or blue and give it like a nice darker hue to it. So for that, literally, you can just go in and add some while it's still damp, and then might give it a nice dual color tone effect as well. Just add some hints towards the green so it doesn't look abrupt. There we go. And that's good. And now we're going to go to the top here and do that on this, like on this area here. And again, we're mixing the red with the blue to get, well, a little red and a lot more blue to get that color. And what you can also do is just dip straight from the blue, add your shapes, and then you can just dip right into the red, add some on there, and just keep alternating for you to lay down those nice colors. And then once that's done, wash off your number 1, and just using the water on it, you're just gonna add more of those shapes or strokes. And then using the number 8, we're getting the green that we're mixed on the side. And I'm going to get a darker green just to show you the variation you can get. And I'm just going to add the green in. There we go. And then using the number 1 to give it a softer finish at the top. Sorry, I'm off screen a little bit here. I'm just gonna add it around the edges to have that better blend. And then there we go. So we have that, and then now we can kind of go ahead and do more of the greens all around. And so for that, I am going to use, just gonna have my blue and my yellow, and I'm gonna try and mix as many different variations as I can get to kind of enhance everything that's happening around here. And for the first set of greenery that I'm going to do, I'll use my number 8, which I've already been using. And I prefer to have more of the greens that are with more yellow in it. So I've mixed like a nice olivey kind of green, and I'm just going to go ahead and get some greenery going in a direction. So always find a direction you can have it go in, and then kind of have the leaves go that way. So obviously our florals are going this way because we're trying to get this nice arc round shape happening. So let's start with the greenery over here first. So I'm going to just get some on here, and then we're just dragging it down one side and the second side, and then just trailing it off. And then I'm going to add a little more blue to this green to get a darker green. So the second leaf will be a nicer contrast against it. Like right there. And then I'm just going to have one peeking out from here as well. A lighter one so it doesn't look too in your face. And then just drag the color to the edge to indicate shadow. Then I'm going to do some more leaves by the dahlia. And we'll do one peeking from here. And then just like green there, and then we'll do one over here as well. And again, keep them loose, keep them not too detailed. Oops. I'm going to give it this direction, kind of twirling upward. And then one coming out from here as well. And then let's do some over here. I'm just going to put some between the yellow flower and the pink, just so it has like a break in between. And I'll do one over here as well, so it closes up that area nicely. And just leave it at that. Now for the rest of it, I'm just gonna have like a vine trailing, not all the way around, but a little bit. And for that, I think I'll mix some of the red that I have with my green to get like a browny color. Okay, I just mixed the red and I got like a purple. So that's not what we want. I'm gonna try that again. I will mix, let me get the color off first. Let me wash my brush and then try that green again and then add some red to it. So I'm getting my green. Actually, if you want to just use like a dark green, let's just go with that. That might be nice. So if you use more of the blue and then some of the yellow, you get like a nice turquoise dark green. Let's use that. And I'm just going to, my only concern is I hope it's not too much like the color of the green that we already have going, but let's try it. We're trying this together, so I'm just going to start the line on here or the branch from there and just kind of go around. Starting from there, and then I'm just going to have it be thicker at the end where it starts from the florals. And just have few stray branches kind of coming out. And then we can put a few florals on there too, maybe. And just have that one trail there. Okay. And I'll do the same thing down below. Wow, I keep getting this deep purple. So I'm doing the same thing down here. Now this looks more like a blue, but let's just wing it because we're not trying to be super realistic. These are loose florals, and why not? Why can't we have a blue twig, stem, whatever, branch? Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. And just want to make sure that it's nice and loose, so lots of white space. And this can be nice and thick as well. If you want it to kind of show it through the edges here and there, that's fine too. That's okay. And now once I have that, I'm going to go in and add some leaves and then trail it off. So we could do some florals on here, but it doesn't have to be super detailed. So I'm thinking it would be nice to kind of trail it off. We have just one yellow, so it would be nice to have a little more yellow on here to kind of make it more whole. So I'm just going to get very little yellow off to the side, and then very lightly with using my number 4, I'm just going to create some yellow buds, and they can just be something as simple as just adding a couple of strokes, hinting at a flower really than anything else. And then you can even have it look like just like these little yellow berries or flower buds we want it to kind of trail off, so it doesn't have to be a lot of detail. And can add some of the purple at the tip. If you have any pre-mixed purple or blue, you can just add that at the tip so it kind of blends in and it doesn't look too yellow, just to give it an offset. Really, there we go. And then again, I'm just going to take some of the pre-mixed yellow that I have and do some here and here. You get the idea, right? Some peeping out from the delphinium kind of, and then taking the purple that I have while it's still damp, just going to touch the edges. Okay, so I have that. And now using the same brush, I will finish off with a few final green green leaves. And for these, they have to be very few and far in between, just so we still keep that with the tapering look and feel to the whole image. So here's the thing with using 3 colors. Then you're trying to mix and get a color, and sometimes it takes longer than anticipated. So you just got to keep that in mind. So I'm going to start with the bottom and just do very light and loose green strokes. Nothing overpowering, just something that like peaks and just adds that hint of green. Just very lightly. Just gonna add some over here too. And then just some over here, and then leave it at that. And then I'm going to add some at the top. You know, something like this would also be nice for like an Easter card. We have Easter coming up. If you guys like to make cards, a lot of you aren't seeing loved ones. If you want to mail something, well, I don't even know what the mail situation is like in most places, but hey, if not mail, then you can always scan and send it to them, or take a picture and send it to them, or heck, record yourself painting it and send it to them, and you can kind of say, I did this for you, or with you in mind, or Happy Easter. And I kind of like the time lapses, so if you guys like time lapses, there's an idea, like do a time lapse, you're doing it, and then you kind of end off with writing Happy Easter here, or whatever your message is. I miss you, or I love you, or whatever. And then that's like a nice gift made with a thought, right? And a person in mind. So this is that. If you want, because this is loose, I mean, you don't have to. You could kind of go in with any of the extra greens that you have and just give light detail. Not a lot of detail, just like light detail to your leaves. And it's just not really a requirement, but if you wanted to. Like this is super light, so when it dries you can actually see these lines. I like showing a little detail here and there. It just gives the finished product a nice texture. See like how we had these lines in the floral going on? So you might want to, you might not. It's totally matter of preference. So feel free to think on that. And then we're done. I'm gonna finish off with one of my favorite things that I like to do with my paintings, which is doing a little splatter. I already kind of managed to get some blue splatter on here. I have some purple, so I'm going to use my number 8 so I can get the splatters that are nice and big enough. And I'm just going to mix some of the purple that I already have, because I want the splatter to be nice and dark and contrasty to everything that we have on here. So I'm going to mix a little more purple. It's good enough. And I'm just tipping, I just dipped the tip of my number 8 into the water after mixing the purple, and I'm just going to add some around here. Now, I don't mind if my area gets splattered with color, but if you do, I would suggest covering it off before you do something like that. And I want the splatter to go in this direction, so I'm just going to hold it this way. What I should be doing is covering the rest of this so it doesn't kind of go too far, but I'm not. So this is me winging it and living on the edge, guys. So I'm just going to add some here. I'm adding a little more water. This will kind of make the splatters lighter and possibly bigger. There we go. So you see some bigger ones on here. Just gonna add some here too. See, I don't like when it does that little ovally shape, but c'est la vie. This is all natural. Just gonna add some over here too. It would be nicer to have a toothbrush. I do have a toothbrush, but the results that I get from a toothbrush are just way too fine. So I'm just gonna go with this, and whatever I get I will be happy with. Oh, see, look at that direction. Not super pleased with it, but like I said, whatever I get I will be happy with. So I have to stick by it and own that. And I'm just going to do some in this direction here where the dahlia is. Can you see it? Yes, there we go. And there we go. Perfect. And there's some right here. Perfect. That's it. I don't want to do any more. I think what we have here is great, and that's it. So this is my tutorial, guys. I hope you guys have liked it. I hope you guys enjoyed doing this with me this Sunday. It's Palm Sunday, and yeah, I have nothing to say on that besides thanks so much for joining me, and let me know what you guys thought of it. I feel like there was only not a lot of you said much, but there's quite a few on here. Let me know what you thought. If you have painted with me and you would like to share this on social media, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, so just hashtag me. It's Claire Scomes Watercolor, and I'd love to see what you come up with. Thank you so much for joining, guys, and we will chat soon. This will go live for those who've missed it. Sorry, not live. This will get posted on the YouTube channel for those who've missed it. So please feel free to share with friends or family if you felt like, this would benefit someone who has not joined us today. Thanks, guys, and we'll chat soon. Bye.